Hello everyone and welcome back into another GT7 video, and this one is actually quite special because we got a new Mercedes-AMG Virtual Championship available. Now this is WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca with this Mercedes-AMG GT3. Why is this so special? Because this is a new championship in GT7, ACC and iRacing, and if we just have a look at this layout of the virtual championship, you can actually see that there are 28 reserved spots in Division 1, 28 in Gran Turismo and 28 in iRacing. So how does it actually work? So if you're really quick and you actually manage to qualify in the top 28, you will be put into Division 1. So will the players on ACC and so will the players on iRacing. Division 2 will also get 28 players, so 2 divisions of 2, just like in Division 1. So 14 players, because of course we cannot have lobbies bigger than 16 people in GT7, and that's exactly why we are running 2 divisions with 14 players each. And of course you can see Division 2 also has 14 players each, but in iRacing the situation is a little bit different, so is in ACC. So 28 players and then 28 players in Division 2. I think this season is actually going to be just for the introduction into more events like this one, so this is kind of experimenting zone, season 0 they call it. And of course the guys, if you have a look at the calendar right here, you can see that it's actually going to be quite competitive, and it's going to be divided into 2 events per track. So it's going to be 1 race and then another race with some kind of challenges. So this is how it works. And of course I just wanted to mention that Division 2 players will actually get promoted if they're in the top 3 positions after 3 races. So will the Division 1 players there will actually be relegated. So if you're at the bottom 3 positions in Division 1, you will actually be relegated into Division 2, and Division 2 players, if they're in the top 3 positions, they will be promoted into Division 1 for the rest of the season. So I think I've done enough explaining, so let's go into the event itself. And as you can see, this is actually quite competitive already, and of course you can get 2 million credits like you usually would. 121.4 is for the gold, which I think this time is going to be really difficult to get for most people, but this is the 3%. But as we can actually go to the leaderboards, you'll be able to see that the global leaderboards are, well, just as I said before, incredibly packed up together. So yeah, the first, or the world record at this point, it stands at the 19.0, and if we just have a look at all of the qualifying spots, so the 28th position now is 19.4, so it's 0.3 of a difference for Division 1. And if we go down even further, you can see the top 56 positions is already in the 19.6. So I would really like to go into the lap of the leader, but you can see everyone is kind of hiding their lap times, but he didn't really manage to hide his own lap time. So you can see a lot of players are actually hiding it, so we cannot see it. But I'm just going to have a little look at how the world record actually looks. So let's go on board with world leader at this point, but I'm even thinking that this is going to go down into 18th. So we really don't have to rev up this car. The usual braking point is just about the 3 mark. He's actually going a little bit wider, downshifting in the first gear to rotate the car, second in gear on the way out. And I found this car very understeer at once, but it was kind of a weird, yeah, it's kind of a weird car to drive. So second from third, it's kind of difficult to understand what this car needs and what is the peak level of torque with this car. So sometimes it's second, sometimes it's third. It's really difficult. So 2 mark right there. He's downshifting in the second to get more rotation out of the car, and second gear on the way out. Yesterday I tried third gear on the way out, but now it seems like the second gear will actually get you a little bit better performance. Fourth gear into this very difficult section, and just as I'm going, or he's going into the corkscrew, you can see downshifting in the first gear, rotating the car, second gear on the way out. And this part is incredibly important, just to straighten up the car before you go downhill, otherwise the car just won't be able to do it. And as we go around this corner, third gear, downshifting and just rotating the car. This is beautiful driving. So 3 mark on the right, this is what he uses just to kind of brake, but again, it's kind of difficult to judge exactly how much speed you're carrying from the previous point. And he's going to manage his lap into 19.0. So I've done something a little bit slower, but I still believe that it's going to be a really good guide just to show you how you can get your 2 million credits and maybe even get your lap into the 19th. So let's go. And as I said before, let's get into the lap, and I usually achieve my best results in lap 3 and lap 4 when the tires get up to the optimal temperature. The first braking point is the 3 mark on the right, and I usually try to brake in the straight line as much as I possibly can. Following the 1 mark on the left, this is the usual point where I started to turn in, and as soon as I get close to the curb, I downshift in first gear. And again, second gear on the way out, not to spin the tires too much and just power out of this corner. So it's incredibly important to hold the power at about 50% because usually you can get too much rotation out of the corner. On the left, this is our next reference point. I usually try to brake at about 50% and then second, third gear on the way out. So second is usually just for rotation, third is for the acceleration. Here, once again, on the left hand side, we got the 1 mark. This is where I just try to get up to maybe 30 to 40% of brake as I try to get into the turn, and then third gear once again on the way out. I know these corners are quite difficult, and at this point I was a little bit behind the world record, but then again the rest of the circuit is quite difficult. So here, the 3 mark, as soon as I pass it, this is my braking point, just kind of in the middle of 2 and 3, depends on how much speed you're carrying. And again, I used that second gear to rotate the car in the middle of the corner, and then I upshift into third. And now into the most difficult part of the circuit. Here I'm actually using the 2 mark to kind of tap the brakes and turn at the same time. But you can see 50% going in, and as soon as I get close to the curb, I'm actually using the curbs for reference points, and then I just try to power out of that corner in 4th gear. But now this is incredibly important. I'm using the reference on the right. You can see the truck, and as soon as I get close to it, I try to brake in the straight line over this curb, and then just trying to cut this part as much as I can. But in 2nd gear, if you stay in first, the car will slide too much, and then straighten up the car in the corkscrew. I didn't really get to the right and the optimal line, but it was still good enough to get through the section. Just a little tap on the brakes right about in this section, rotate the car, and then power out in 3rd gear. We're going on the left hand side of the circuit, and you need to use the absolute maximum of this curb. 2 point, this is where I just tapped the brakes. I kind of missed the apex of this corner, but it's very important to get on the apex and of course onto the curb on the right hand side. Power out in 3rd gear and look for this 3 mark, which is the last reference point for this track. And then again, try to brake in the straight line as much as you can and turn in when you see that 1 sign. Downshifting in the 1st gear really helps with the rotation of the car. 2nd gear, you can see that I'm holding the power at just about 50% to stabilize the back end, and only when I straighten up the car, then I push all the way up to 100%. And after all of this, I've managed to do a 19.783 with a missed upshift, and this landed me into 71st place at this point. I know my lap has a lot more potential, but I really have to go and just explore my limits and just to see if I can get into the top 56 to qualify for this event. So I'm just gonna say qualifying for this is going to be incredibly difficult, and I would really like to get into Division 2. Division 1 is going to be a little bit difficult because only 28 people can get in, but I will try to do my best. And once again, if you would like to know what I'm usually teaching in my coaching and what I actually look for on the track, you can go check out my online course, which is going to be down in the description of this video. I pretty much explain all of the things that are required for you to become quick over time. So if you manage to get this far into the video, you can use this coupon to get a 15% discount on my online course. So once again, guys, thank you very much for sticking with me, and hopefully I will actually qualify for this one. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, bye.